Yo, 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 what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the kid, aka SHAREfactory, aka RTK, and I hope you are all having a blessed, beautiful day. This is going to go ahead and be my little review, my thoughts, my concerns with the Modern Warfare beta. Just a little quick intro to who I am and where I've been. I've been on this game, Call of Duty, in first-person genre for about 10 to 15 years now. I'm 28 years old. I know I don't look it, but I am. So, other than natural skills, reaction time, good eyesight, scanning, Call of Duty comes down to a lot of basics. You know, map knowledge, knowing when to be offensive, defensive, and gun knowledge. You know, recoil control, patterns, things of this nature. So, out of the 100-something games I played, 4 of them I went negative, and the rest were all above a 1.5 KD. So, for the smartasses that are going to sit here and say, oh, you just don't like the game because you can't adapt, you can't survive, you can't do this, you can't do that, I'll let the gameplay in the background speak for itself. I can adapt, I can survive. As someone who comes from classic CODs like Modern Warfare, MW2, 3, BO1, 2, 3, 4, I've adapted and played and succeeded and done well in just about every one of them. The only thing I haven't done in Call of Duty is step foot on a main stage. I've done game battles. I've held good ranks in game battles. I have accolades. I have shit from my history to back up what I'm saying and why I'm a credible source for said information. So, even though this was a beta, there's a lot of things that give me grave concern for the game that when it launches, and knowing Activision and Infinity Ward's history, very dark, bland game, not many colors that pop. If you want to be completely honest, I feel like it looked a tad bit better than Modern Warfare Remastered, and this was a game made 10 years ago that they just remastered. I'm excited for crossplay, I'm excited for the new engines. Other than that, there's still a lot of things that I'm worried about, so we're going to go ahead and get into that. The first point I want to make, I've been sniping for a long time, but I just now started taking it seriously in about Modern Warfare, BO4. Back in the day, it just had a lot of shit going on between my dad and blah, blah, blah. That's for another video, another time. ADS and mobility is abysmal. In sniping, you cannot defend yourself, and I don't want to have to jam my button forward 20 times just to fucking cancel out and get a couple seconds faster out of a reanimation. And, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, I think the new movement system's creative. What makes it creative? The fact that you have an option? Well, we always had a double-click sprint option, auto sprint, if you will. How does it make sense to the fact that I'm going to run slower if I just press it once and go forward, and I have to press it twice to go full sprint, when opposed to past games you just click it in forward one time and you could full sprint? So it kind of doesn't make sense to me, and I hope the people that did say that they thought it was neat and creative, that's fine. I do think it's creative, but I think it's also pointless and stupid as well. This isn't all negativity and toxicity. This is my honest opinion. So snipers, no mobility, slow ADS. There was a couple of glitches you could do to make it a little bit faster. All the kids, and that's what they are, they're kids, they're children. 17, 16, 18, 19, even 20. They're kids, man. Most of them live at home still. They're playing this game so much, and they're in the honeymoon phase, right? They're just so excited, like a kid on Christmas that it got a new toy, that they didn't notice there's bullet drop in player versus player. This isn't a battle royale. I'm not sitting off in the Sheik Mountains about 500 meters out trying to hit somebody and I got to counter in bullet drop. This is a PvP, player versus player arcade shooter. This is Call of Duty. I don't feel there should be bullet drop in the player versus player, and if nobody else noticed that, I feel sorry for you. Shout out my boy Brian. He pointed it out to me, and once he said something about it and I started trying it and looking at it, I'll be damned, there's bullet drop in player versus player. And I'm not even talking long range. I'm talking just above short to mid range. There is bullet drop. So I'd love to see that out of the game. Maybe in realism mode, that's cool. Go ahead and implement it in that game mode. But just as for standard core and people trying to hit feeds, I'd rather not have to take in the factor that my bullet's going to drop and has bullet drop, especially at medium range. That should be a long range thing. If all else fails and it has to be in the game, make it long range. So yeah, other than that, sniping's cool. I like it. I enjoy it. I think it's refreshing. I think it's rewarding. So let's go ahead and move on to ARs. I think they're in a perfect state. Even though a lot of people disagree with me, ARs are meant to outgun pretty much anything on the map. It's supposed to be the most versatile weapon. You know, maybe tone them down just a little bit. I noticed with that M13, when I'd run an M13 and an AUG, the class just slayed, dude. I'm dropping support helos. I was dropping precision airstrikes. I was dropping 50, 60, 70 kill games. So I'd love to see that toned down a little bit. Other than that, ARs are in a good state. I don't care what anybody says. No matter what, this is an arcade shooter, but there's still classes of weapons. They have a class specific. ARs are supposed to be good from mid to long range. If it's a fast firing AR, then it's supposed to be good at short range. So you should be outgunning people. Now, the fact that people all sit in windows and camp them, that's not Activision's problem. That's not Infinity Ward's game design. That is their map design. So we'll get into that in a little bit. SMGs. Fellow player A-Thoughts said that he thought SMGs were underpowered. I just would cleverly like to say, what fucking game were you playing? Because anytime I encountered SMGs and when I used them personally, I was outgunning people from mid to long range, which should never be a thing unless you're just a god at Call of Duty. You should not be using an MP7 outgunning somebody using an M4 halfway across the map. It just shouldn't be a thing, man. And when it is, those are those special little moments that are highlights and just things that make you feel good as a player, you know, a little extra aim assist kicked in, whatever. So SMGs, the range damage drop-off needs to be tweaked a lot. They're dominantly overpowered, so we got to make other weapons be able to clash with them. But other than that, I was pretty happy with it. The weapons are not too bad. Tone SMGs down just a hair as far as their range. Other than that, they're fine. So let's go ahead and get into the map design. The map design was absolutely horrid. A lot of people were complaining about campers, but how can you blame somebody for playing the game how it's meant to be played? The maps were designed very complex, especially with no mini-map to fish campers out and do things like that. There's so many angles, so many windows, so many buildings. That I blame on the devs. That is map design to a T. You can't blame somebody for using the map to their advantage. That's what intelligent people do. So spawns are absolutely horrid as well. I noticed if half of my team was holding choke points and spawn trapping, they were spawning behind us, which I don't want to get people stuck in spawn traps, you know. There should always be an emergency system implemented where if the spawn trap is occurring, they can spawn to the outside of the maps or whatever, but this was happening every single time. They're spawning behind me, over here, over there. We got to get the spawn points under control. So maps too complex. I can understand why people were camping, and I can understand new players being overwhelmed and why they would camp. You don't even want to move because you're so afraid. There's so many spots somebody could be. Shotguns, as 8Thoughts said, I do believe they need a buff. Half the time anybody shot me right in the chest, they got hit markers 90% of the time at close range, so I would hate to see that continue. Shotguns should be an option. They're very needed. They're a needed class to balance out the game, especially when you got people playing a certain way. Shotgun balances that right out. Boom. So shotguns need a buff. Other than that, guys, I had fun and I'm looking forward to the game. I think it has a lot of potential. I'm loving the score streaks. Map design, and again, when I was using this chopper gunner on the Azir caves, if they'd spawned in caves, they were just staying in caves. And had we been playing domination and they had C and B control, they didn't have a reason to leave the caves. So, you know, I'd love to see maybe certain game modes not be on certain maps and we implement it that way. But then again, you know, it is a game and you're not going to have a great map every single map. Just like on BO4, I had strong maps, I had weak maps. Even when I worked on the weak maps, they were still my weak maps. That's just how it goes. Other than that, sniping, I want to see it fixed. I would hate to see such a large community, especially with esports, how it's going. You're going to see a lot more people getting into underground things like pub stomping, sniping, feeding. So with that being said, I really love to see the ADS increased. There was too many times where I got into a 1v2, 1v3, and I couldn't defend myself even against the first and second person. Whereas in a game like BO4, you hit your first shot, me being good at movement and taking advantage of the movement system and learning as you should, I was able to use my movement ability to get out of those 1v3s and tough situations. In this game, you're a sitting duck, man. If you don't just get the right timing, right place, right shots, you're fucked. You're dead. Especially if you're using a sniper. And I was using overkill many times and it still wasn't enough. So, yeah, this isn't a video meant to shit on people. It's just, year after year, we have these same bigwigs, these same fucking kids. Other than Nate Thoughts and a couple other players, they're a little bit older and they have, you know, well-seasoned Call of Duty skills. But two different mindsets, right? A lot of them camp, a lot of them do this, a lot of them do that. It's not meant to be shit-talking anybody. I'm 28 years old. I have a job. I have a life. I've had girlfriends. So nobody can come at me and be like, oh, you're just some Call of Duty nerd, this and that. No, I have the best opinion of them all because I have a well-balanced life. I play this game enough and I live life enough. Not one or the other. When you sit too far to one end or the other on the spectrum, your views can be askewed and blocked. So it's like you play the game too much, your opinions are going to be different. You play the game not enough, you don't have any knowledge of the game, so fuck your opinion. Why should it matter? And that's just me being real. So maybe you disagree with me, maybe you agree with me. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. I'll be doing more reviews when the second week of the beta drops. And other than that, new UhhStarZz is coming out. Uploaded 2 more videos, 3 more on the way. So this has been Reach for the Stars, aka SHAREfactory, and I hope you all have a beautiful day. And remember, reach for the stars. Peace.